All right, good morning, everyone. This is the April 19th, 2021 blockchain meeting. Recording is now started. Looks like we've got a few items to talk about for the mainnet check-in. I just want to bring to your attention the PR that I've been working on this past week, the one that adds extra tests for microblock mining. Is all the tests are now passing now. Turns out there was a bug in the not the anti-entropy protocol, but in the way that the inventory synchronization protocol and the anti-entropy protocol interact. That's now been fixed. But we have noticed over the weekend that the testnet miner is misbehaving. It's not mining transactions. We don't know what the root cause is, or at least we don't know yet what the root cause is.
Is that accurate though? Like, have we actually confirmed that it's not mining transactions?
Something's definitely amiss. I've seen people complain about it. Let me pull it up right here.
So we know of at least one issue, which was that all the transactions that were in the mempool of the miner when it was restarted last night essentially need to be rebroadcasted because no one else is mining on testnet. And so all of these pending transactions, like there's nothing wrong with them. Ideally, they should just go through, but the miner just doesn't have them in its mempool. But they do exist in the API followers mempool. So that is one issue. Outside of that, like I went through some of the blocks since the last restart, and I do see there are contract calls. There are not that many, but I don't know if there is kind of a systemic issue of like nothing except Coinbase transactions are showing up.
Well, we got a Stacks transfer right here as of 18 minutes ago, so that's encouraging. I don't know. I was just mainly looking at the mempool, seeing there's a whole bunch of these faucet transactions that aren't going through.
Yeah, and that's what we at least identified had happened, that the miner was restarted, it kind of dropped, or it doesn't know about these transactions in the mempool. And since we don't have the anti-entropy protocol yet, the API follower, even though it has these transactions, it's not rebroadcasting them. So if you manually push those transactions back out, they should all go through.
Cool. One other thing we could do here is if we update the faucet, so it just asks the testnet node what the next nonce should be before it does the broadcast, that should take care of that too. Because what it'll do then is it'll send conflicting transactions until one of them does get picked up, which is what we want, because if you skip a nonce, then nothing's ever going to go through. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll just monitor the situation. RC5.
Sorry, can we just do the rebroadcast? I think we have a script to do that, right?
Yeah, if I can get the missing transaction, I mean, you can just post it directly.
Yeah, I think our DevOps team had that script too. I think we've shared that before. Does that sound familiar, Jay Wiley or Charlie?
Yes, I have the script somewhere. It's been a long time since I've run it though. I have to refamiliarize myself with it. But yeah, we have done it before.
Yep, I have the script too. I could share it out to you, Jude.
I think I actually wrote the script, so I think.
Yeah, so Jude has the script. What I was instead saying is, if we have the script, we have access to the node, so we should just go ahead and do the rebroadcast without getting blocked in Jude. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely we can. We just need the details, and then to refamiliarize ourselves with the script before we run it. So it should be pretty quickly.
If you can just find the missing transaction, that should be all it takes. But yeah, if you run the script, that'll be fine too.
Yeah, I think we could just like look at the mempool of the API follower and rebroadcast everything that's in there.
Yep, that should be fine.
All right. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if there's nothing more on that, like action item here is just rebroadcast, rebroast, bad keyboard. If there's nothing more on that, then let's talk about RC5. I take it this is going to be after we merge 2590.
Yeah, I would imagine.
There's two PRs I think that are targeted to develop right now. There's PR 2590 and there's a PR that Aaron sent that adds line coverage to Clarity CLI. That can go before or after 2.0.11. I don't think it matters that much. But if we want to get that into developers' hands sooner, like it doesn't conflict with anything that we've been doing, so might as well just push it through. unless anyone has any objections. As for the release timeline, once we finish rebroadcasting these transactions, do we want to just cut RC5? Sorry, so merge these two PRs, cut RC5, deploy to testnet, make sure everything's working, and then we can do a release?
Yeah, so RC4 already has been running on our mainnet API nodes. So I think for the followers, we have fairly good coverage at this point. It's been running for several days now. It's really the miners, I think, that we want to do some sanity test on. So I would say, yeah, once we cut an RC5, if the foundation is still running a miner, we should test it there. And then, we can deploy it to a mock miner, we can deploy it to the testnet miner, and hopefully that should be good enough.
Yeah, that's why it's really pertinent that we make sure that there's nothing wrong with the testnet miner first, because the changes in RC5 will be on the microblock miner side. So what we can do, well, look, what I can do, I guess, is I can generate a bunch of microblock only transactions to make sure they all get picked up as a way to just kick the tires a bit. Sound reasonable? All right, I don't hear any pushback. Gonna go with a yes. Cool, let's go through the project board. All right, this is the PR I just mentioned, 2590. Still needs to have at least 2 approvers. I've gotten lots of feedback, especially from Pavithra. Thanks, Pavithra, appreciate it all. Reed, do you want to talk about the PR you have for decoupling the Clarity VM? I think you said Friday's ready for review now.
Yeah, would love some more eyes on this PR. I addressed Aaron's comment about some of the test stuff not passing. Everything's passing now. So yeah, ready for more reviews.
Sweet. So this PR that Hank sent adds a couple of Clarity CLI commands that output JSON. I'd pushed back on this just because I feel like what we really need is like a command line argument to Clarity CLI that just tells like all the commands to output their data as JSON, as opposed to trying to make JSON specific variations of commands. I'm already in the process of working on this as well, so I'm happy to just send the PR for that once we have our C5 out the door. Reed, is this part of or related to or dependent on the PR you sent for decoupling the VM, moving the stacks message codec into its own codec module?
Yeah, I would shift this back to in progress rather than review in progress. This was like something I was working on, and I opened a draft PR just because it was an easy way to kind of visualize all of the changes, but not really ready for review or anything.
So once we review and merge like decouple Clarity, decouple the VM PR, is this PR still relevant?
Yes, the decouple PR does not touch Stacks message codec. And I need to kind of revisit this PR and see which parts of it kind of make sense on top of the VM decoupling. I think some of it we'll probably want to do. But yeah, it'll need to be rebased, and it probably will actually just be easier to make the changes again. But yeah.
Okay. So do you want us to take a look at it right now, or is it just in a holding pattern here?
No, I wouldn't look at it yet. I'd prefer eyes on the decouple VM PR.
All right, can do.
Cool.
There's a lot of good stuff in the adding new events for microblocks PR. We're just waiting to get to 11 out the door, I think, before we can start merging it to develop. Pavithra, is there anything else you want to talk about for this PR?
No, I think it's just ready for another round of review. That's pretty much it.
Sweet. Speaking of stuff going into 2.0.12, thank you, Pavithra, for taking a look at this. I still need to take a look at it myself, and looks like so does Aaron. So yeah, Pascal's been trying to work on this for the past few months, so I'm glad that it's moving forward.
Sure.
This is going to be really relevant for doing things like wallet commands, where if you want your wallet, for example, to query information on behalf of the smart contract and give it back to you. Like, this is a great PR for doing that sort of thing. Fixing the mempool walk order. So Aaron's approved this. I still have to approve it, or Ludo still has to approve it. Pavitra, is there anything else on this PR you want to talk about?
No, yeah, it's just about waiting for one more approval. That's about it.
Sounds good. Man, 2.0.12 is going to have lots of good changes in it. Backlog, real quick. Okay, I mean, this is backlog. Sorry, my eyes keep going to this issue because it's been open forever. New issues. Send additional Bitcoin op data to the event observer. Matt, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, so right now the API generates kind of synthetic transactions when it receives one of these Bitcoin-based transactions. Mm-hmm. And for this one specifically, it's unable to generate the correct Bitcoin address for the StackSax transaction. And so we need more data sent through the event observer in order to generate a correct transaction.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused. When you say it should be giving you the Bitcoin TXID right now, right?
No, so I think right now it just gives the Stacks TXID, and then everything else is kind of generated based off that. I'd have to get familiar with how this hack kind of works right now, but yeah, it's basically just a hack to try to get to try to like massage one of these Bitcoin-based transactions into like a well-formed Stacks transaction.
It could be fine. Like, instead of trying to paper over the fact that it's on the Bitcoin chain, we could just embrace that potentially in the message format. Like, if you pull it up on the Explorer, it might just say, "Hey, this was a Bitcoin transaction that the Stacks node picked up as a Stacks transaction," or something like that.
Yeah, that's one option. It would just require changes to the API and Explorer and potentially wallets and stuff. But okay, yeah, so right now, it just kind of like fills in as much data as possible, which it actually does a good job at. But this one specific field, it's not possible to figure it out unless we send more data through.
Okay. If you want to send a PR for that, like, have you take a look.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to do that anytime soon, but yeah.
Okay, if someone will.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we all have way too much on our plates right now. I think that's it for new issues. Like, I think this issue here, new SegWit support, was opened like last week. Yeah. Backlog, I just noticed that event broadcast for pending microblocks. Pavitra, this is the PR you have open over here, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's the same issue.
Cool. Let's put that in review, put that in progress then. Oops, not that. This one. All right. Stacks 2.1 work streams. Sorry, bear with me. Dropbox isn't the fastest. I guess maybe the question would be like, has anyone started work on any of these work streams and they want to talk about what they've been working on? I can speak for myself here, at least with the benchmarking stuff. I'm actually reading the papers that Aaron shared as well, because I don't have a very strong PL background either. So it'll be a nice learning process for basically everyone but Aaron to get a better understanding of assessing runtime costs in Lisp.
Jude, you're talking about like the static analysis papers?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, I'm working through some of those as well.
I'm really happy that a bunch of other people have taken a look at this already, so we don't have to.
Yeah. Me too.
All right. I guess like my update here on this is I just hope to start working on this week now that I have the that last PR ready to go for 2.0.11. This week, I'm going to try to break some of those into issues and at least put them on the GitHub so we can start talking about them and maybe even set up like a separate project board. All right, quick meeting. Any discussion items?
It's not on the board, but I've been doing some work on our mainnet followers as well as testnet follower, not the one that's live right now to preserve its mempool, but enabling state persistence and restarting from the working directory. I tested a lot of that over the weekend, and it seems to work really well, including in conjunction with the API. Yeah, we're kind of slowly rolling that out. And I think once the next official version will be cut, 2.0.11, we'll be able to start from a previous state for our seed nodes as well. And I think at that point, it should be pretty much everywhere.
That's awesome. Yeah, because right now rolling out these things is pretty painful.
Yeah, and from the test that I did over the weekend, it takes about 20 minutes to restart a node now. So much better than like 6 hours or whatever it was before.
That's great news. I guess maybe one thing I would hope that we add to this is in the future, our release process should still nevertheless require spinning up a release candidate from Genesis to make sure that, you know, it can spin up and reach the chain state.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, not needing to do that in general is going to be a huge step up.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Any other discussion items? So we have one chat item here. Spectrum outage. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing then. And I'm going to stop recording.